There's something most men don't realize about attraction. Women aren't just listening to what you say. They're feeling who you are behind the words. And sometimes the words you think will bring her closer are the exact ones that push her away. Harsh truth? Maybe. But if you've ever said something to a woman and watched her energy shift, her eyes go cold, or her interest suddenly drop, then you know exactly what I mean. Welcome back, fellas. This video is going to challenge you. Because we're not just talking about surface-level dating advice. We're digging into the emotional landmines you might be stepping on every time you open your mouth. These are the 5 things you should never tell a woman, because they kill attraction faster than anything else. And chances are, you've probably said one of them before, thinking it made you look honest, deep, or vulnerable. But in reality, it did the opposite. Now let's be clear. This isn't about being fake or hiding your truth. It's about understanding what actually builds attraction and what destroys it. A woman doesn't lose interest because you're too honest. She loses interest when your words expose insecurity, neediness, or a lack of leadership, because those traits kill the masculine energy she's biologically wired to respond to. In today's dating world, most men are unknowingly sabotaging themselves in conversations. They overshare, they try to impress, or they say things to get validation. And it backfires every single time. Attraction isn't logical. It's emotional. It's instinctive. And when you say the wrong things, you're not just hurting your chances, you're signaling that you don't understand how women really work. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 phrases, confessions, or comments that instantly lower your value in her eyes. Stick with me through the end, because by avoiding these mistakes, you'll instantly come off more confident, grounded, and desirable. Let's get into it. 1. I'm nothing without you. The neediness trap. Let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes men make with women. Telling her that she's your everything, your whole world, or worse, that you're nothing without her. Now you might think that sounds romantic. You might even believe it shows your deep love or loyalty. But here's the reality. It doesn't build attraction. It drains it. When a man tells a woman, directly or indirectly, that his entire emotional well-being depends on her, what he's really saying is this: I have no backbone without your approval. And once that message is received, she no longer sees you as a man she can look up to or feel drawn to. She starts to feel the pressure of having to emotionally carry you. And trust me, no woman wants to feel like your emotional babysitter. Imagine this. You've just started dating a woman. Things are going well. Then, after only a few weeks, you look her in the eye and say, I don't know what I'd do without you. At first, she may smile, but deep down a switch flips. Suddenly she realizes she has way too much control. You've given her power that should have never left your hands. Women are attracted to strength. They want a man who knows his worth, with or without them. When you position her as your emotional anchor, she may stay for a while, but not out of desire, out of guilt, pity, or until someone more emotionally grounded shows up. What she wants is a man who chooses her, not a man who needs her to function. There's a big difference between love and dependency. Love is sharing your life with someone. Dependency is handing your life over and hoping they don't walk away. You're allowed to have deep feelings. You're allowed to care. But the moment you communicate that your entire sense of identity crumbles without her, you stop being the man she was originally drawn to. The confidence fades. The edge is gone. And in its place is someone clinging to her approval. If you want to keep a woman attracted to you, don't make her feel like she's your oxygen. Let her feel your strength, your calm, your purpose, with or without her. That's when she looks at you with admiration. That's when she leans in closer. Not because you need her, but because she chooses you. 2. Please tell me what to do. The leadership mistake. This one's subtle, but it's a silent attraction killer, constantly asking a woman to decide everything for you: where to go, what to eat, what to do, what's next in the relationship. You may think it's polite. You may believe it shows respect, or that you're being thoughtful. But from her perspective, it often feels like you're asking her to lead you, and that's not what she wants. A woman may say she wants a man who listens, and that's absolutely true. She wants a man who considers her, but listening isn't the same as depending on her for every move. When you ask her to take the wheel all the time, you're placing the burden of leadership on her shoulders, and while she might tolerate it for a while, eventually, it chips away at the attraction. Why? Because women are biologically wired to be drawn to a man who moves with direction. A man who knows what he wants and doesn't hesitate to say, "Let's go here," or "I've got it handled." That doesn't mean being a dictator. It means being decisive, clear, grounded. When a woman hears a man repeatedly say, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" or "Just tell me what to do," it sends a subtle but loud message: "I don't trust myself to lead." Over time, this erodes a woman's respect for the man she's with. And here's the truth. Respect is the bedrock of attraction. Once that cracks, everything else begins to slip. She may not even know why she's pulling away, but this is often at the core of it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't need to always get it right. But you do need to have a spine. Take initiative. Say, "Here's the plan," even if it's small. "We're going to try that new spot tonight. Let's take a weekend trip next month. I'll figure it out." She might tweak your idea or offer input, and that's fine. That's what healthy partnership looks like. 3. I've never felt this way before. Too much, too soon. This line might sound sweet and romantic in a movie, but in the real world, especially in the early stages of dating, it's a red flag. Not for her, but for you. Saying, "I've never felt this way before," too early in a connection, doesn't build attraction. It kills it. Why? Because it signals emotional overinvestment before she's earned it. It tells her that you're not coming from a grounded place, but from desperation. And women can sense that energy immediately. She'll feel like you've already put her on a pedestal, even though she hasn't done anything exceptional yet to deserve that level of praise. Here's what most guys don't realize. Women want to feel special, but they want to earn that feeling through your experience of them. Not hear that you're falling fast just because she's pretty or gave you a little attention. When a man rushes in with statements like, "I've never felt this way before," it makes her wonder, how many women has he said this to? Or, why is he giving so much, so fast? It creates a vibe that you're trying to lock her in because you fear she might walk away. That fear is unattractive. Attraction grows through tension, mystery, and earned connection, not through declarations of premature emotion. A woman is more drawn to a man who's emotionally solid, not one who gets swept away before there's a foundation. Let's be real. Saying this kind of thing early on is usually more about you than it is about her. Maybe you're excited. Maybe it's been a while since someone showed you attention. Or maybe she's just different from the women you're used to. But here's the truth. Just because someone feels good to be around doesn't mean you should pour yourself out. A high-value man knows how to enjoy the moment without turning it into a fairy tale. He lets things unfold naturally. He's not rushing to define what he feels, because he understands that real emotion takes time to build. He's patient, grounded, and observant. Women don't want a guy who gets emotionally overwhelmed the second she's nice to him. They want a man who can handle his feelings and not spill them all over the table before anything real is built. So the next time you feel tempted to say, "I've never felt this way before," stop and ask yourself, is this true connection? Or am I just reacting emotionally to something that feels new? Hold back. Let her be curious. Let her wonder how you feel. Keep a bit of mystery alive. That's how you maintain attraction. Because if you're always the first one to declare deep feelings, you'll usually be the first one to get left behind. 4. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Look, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. Every man hits a point where things don't feel clear. But when you say that directly to a woman, especially early on, it sends a strong message that you're not grounded. And the hard truth is, a woman doesn't feel safe or attracted to a man who seems lost in his own life. It's not about pretending you've got everything figured out. It's about how you carry yourself in moments of uncertainty. When you speak as if you're floating aimlessly, unsure of your direction or purpose, it chips away at your masculine edge. Women aren't drawn to perfection. They're drawn to confidence. Even quiet, developing confidence. When a man says, "I'm still figuring things out, but I'm moving forward," that lands very differently than, "I have no clue what I'm doing with my life." Think about it. Attraction for a woman is tied deeply to how grounded you are. Your ambition, your emotional composure, your sense of self. All of these create that pull. But the moment she feels like she's more emotionally stable than you, more clear-headed than you, or has to lead you through your own confusion, the dynamic shifts, and not in your favor. Now, this doesn't mean you fake success or act like you have it all together when you don't. It just means you don't overshare your internal chaos. You don't dump your confusion in her lap and expect her to still see you as a man she can trust or look up to. The truth is, you can be unsure about your path and still come across as powerful if you carry that uncertainty with strength. Own it. Say less. Move forward quietly. She'll respect that a whole lot more than a long emotional monologue about how lost you feel. Never forget, your direction matters more than your speed. And as a man, even if your life is a work in progress, you should still be the one holding the pen. 5. You're out of my league. Let's get one thing straight. Telling a woman she's out of your league is one of the fastest ways to kill attraction. It sounds innocent, maybe even like a compliment, but what she really hears is, "I see myself as beneath you." And the moment a woman feels that kind of imbalance, the dynamic shifts. The attraction fades. A man who sees himself as less than a woman doesn't just flatter her ego. He lowers his own value in the process. And whether she realizes it consciously or not, it changes the way she sees you. Women aren't attracted to men who put them on pedestals. They're attracted to men who stand on equal ground and bring something of their own to the table. Now picture this. There's a guy sitting across from a woman he's really into. She's beautiful, confident, put together. Instead of enjoying the moment and owning his presence, he blurts out, "You're way out of my league. I don't even know why you're talking to me." She laughs politely, maybe even smiles. But internally, something just switched off. She suddenly feels like she's dating a fan, not a man. Confidence isn't about being cocky. It's about knowing your worth without needing her to validate it. When a man says things like, "You're out of my league," he hands over the power dynamic. He tells her, "I need your approval." And no woman stays attracted to a man who constantly seeks her approval. Even if she's gorgeous, successful, or has more experience, you don't need to say anything that puts you beneath her. You can admire her, respect her, even compliment her, but never do it in a way that shrinks you. A real man doesn't need to convince her he's worthy. He just knows he is. That's the difference between being charming and being forgettable. 6. Oversharing emotional wounds. Too early. There's a big difference between being emotionally open and being emotionally messy, and too many men confuse the two, especially early on with a woman. One of the fastest ways to kill attraction is to unload all your emotional baggage before any real connection has been built. Why? Because it flips the dynamic. Instead of being the grounded man she can lean into, you become the emotionally fragile one who's looking to her for healing. Listen carefully. It's not that you shouldn't ever talk about your past, your pain, or the things you've been through. But timing, tone, and context matter more than you think. If you bring all of that to the table too soon, sharing deep wounds, past traumas, or how badly your ex hurt you, you don't build intimacy. You build emotional weight. And she's not trying to carry that for you. In the beginning, she's trying to assess your strength, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. She wants to feel like she can rely on you, that you're solid. But when a man leads with emotional vulnerability that hasn't been processed, meaning you're still bleeding from it makes her instinctively recoil, not because she doesn't care, but because she doesn't trust it. A woman is drawn to a man who's already done the inner work, not one who's hoping she'll be his therapist. If you're opening up just to get comfort or validation, that's not emotional maturity. That's emotional dumping. So here's the rule. Only share a wound once it's a scar. If it's still bleeding, it's too early. You want to share it from a place of strength, not need. Here's what I went through. Here's what I learned. And here's who I am now. That's powerful. That's grounded. That builds respect and trust, which naturally leads to deeper connection. Bottom line, don't use emotional vulnerability as a tactic. Use it as a reflection of growth, and never mistake overexposure for authenticity. 7. I can't live without you. Here's the harsh truth. When a man tells a woman, I can't live without you, it doesn't sound romantic. It sounds weak. It sounds like pressure. And worst of all, it sounds like obsession, not love. Women are drawn to strength. Emotional strength, masculine calm, grounded energy. When a man says he can't live without her, what she hears is, I don't have a life of my own. My happiness depends on you. And that doesn't pull her closer. It pushes her away. Think about it. If a woman is constantly told that she's a man's entire world, it might feel flattering at first, but eventually it becomes a weight. She starts to feel responsible for his emotional well-being. Every disagreement turns into a disaster. Every little mood swing becomes a crisis. And slowly, she starts to lose respect for the man she once liked. Why? Because no woman wants to carry that emotional burden. She doesn't want to be your savior. She doesn't want to be your therapist. And she definitely doesn't want to feel like she's the only thing holding you together. A man who truly attracts women doesn't make her feel like she's his oxygen. He makes her feel like a powerful part of his already fulfilling life. If she leaves, he won't fall apart. He'll keep going, because he's whole on his own. That's the kind of man women miss. That's the kind of man they chase after. The man who enjoys her presence, but doesn't need it for survival. The man who can say, I want you in my life, but I'll still be solid without you. Now don't get it twisted. This isn't about acting like a cold robot. It's about balance. You can love her, appreciate her, desire her, but never depend on her to complete you. When a man builds a life he's proud of, filled with purpose, goals, passions, and peace, he stops using women to fill emotional gaps. And that's exactly when women start to feel pulled into his world, not pushed away. Never let a woman feel like you can't survive without her. Because when you say that, you're telling her you've already lost yourself. Let's be honest, most guys lose attraction not because they lack looks or money, but because they talk themselves out of the game. Words matter. The wrong words can destroy your image faster than any mistake. What you say tells her everything about how you see yourself and whether she should respect you or walk away. Now here's the hard truth. Attraction isn't something you beg for, negotiate, or try to earn through sympathy. It's either sparked or it's not. And the fastest way to kill that spark is to act like you don't deserve it. When you tell her you're broken, when you overshare your insecurities, when you place her on a pedestal or try to validate yourself through her, what you're really saying is, I'm not enough. And the second you give off that energy, she checks out. It's not about being fake. It's about being aware. Every time you speak, you're either building attraction or killing it. So if you've said any of the things we've talked about, don't beat yourself up. Wake up, adjust, grow. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being sharp, self-aware, and grounded in your value as a man. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the one thing you've said in the past that you wish you hadn't? Drop it in the comments, and yes, I read them. I'll respond to as many as I can. Remember, this is a space for men who want to get better. Stay sharp and speak wisely. We'll talk soon.